Afternoon. So, it's been a while. Generally, the only news I have is that I've been very, very busy teaching. And I have just finished for the summer, which is really good news. I'm back in work and I'm doing okay. We're going to see where I'm going to land up after the summer. But it's been a very, very successful few weeks, month, since I've been back home. And yeah, looking forward to seeing where this goes in the new year, new school year. But for now, I am completely free for the next 6 weeks. So, well, I may be doing a little bit of work, but completely free mainly for the next 6 weeks. And I'm going to be creating some more content now that I have the time. So, Games Workshop today came up with some guidelines on how to use or not use their intellectual property. Now, preface this for a second here. I have no problem with Games Workshop protecting their intellectual property in whichever way they see fit, okay? They are allowed to protect their intellectual property. It's their intellectual property. And listen, anyone who has an idea or an IP that needs protecting should be allowed to do that, and I've got no problem whatsoever with them doing that. Secondly, please do not send threatening letters, images, or emails to Games Workshop staff. I can tell you now, from the horse's mouth, it is not their fault. This is a blind, idiotic corporate decision and has nothing to do with people on the ground. The people who you will speak to have nothing to do with the guys who are making the decisions. The people who you will speak to, if you complain about this, are never going to get the ear of the people making these decisions. Okay? Right. Cool. Awesome. Feel free to make a huge think about it online, do whatever you want, but please do not threaten anyone, okay? That's not the way to go about things. Without further ado, though, I've not actually read these before, so I wanted to read these very rawly, with you guys on this video, just so we can see what the attitude is to Games Workshop's IP online. Let's have a little look. Why is it controversial? So, as you can see, intellectual property guidelines. These are the brand new guidelines. These are new as of right now, as of literally updated last night. So, Games Workshop has been designing and selling miniatures and games for over 40 years. Our design studios have worked hard to create the unique settings and characters that are enjoyed by our fans all over the world. Okay, cool. We love to see fans enjoying all things Warhammer. We also have a duty to preserve and protect our intellectual property rights. This is the only way we can ensure that Warhammer will be around forever. Our goal is to do so while continuing to support the passion and creativity of our fans. We will level with you. This is a difficult balancing act. You're damn right it is. It is very, very different, very, very difficult. And there's nothing wrong with that statement, by the way. There's nothing untrue there. Okay, the mission statement of Games Workshop, right, is we want to make the best tabletop war games in the world, and we want to continue doing this forever. It's very simple. That is literally the mission statement that they give you when you sign up for the company, right? We create the best. We want to create the best tabletop tabletop wargaming games in the world, and we want to continue doing this forever. That's it. That's it. Okay. So there's nothing there that counteracts that. That's all good. So, whatever exciting Warhammer hobby activities you're working on, we ask that you follow the guidelines at all times. By doing so, we can all continue to enjoy all things Warhammer for a long time to come. These guidelines do not constitute formal approval or authorization of any fan content, or a waiver of our legal right. We reserve the right to change these guidelines at any time. Very important there. So, fanfiction, hobby books and magazines. Okay. Individuals may write their own stories, hobby books, and magazines based on our characters and settings, but these must not include text, artwork, or imagery copied from any official Games Workshop material. Be non-commercial, with no money being received or paid. This includes all forms of fundraising activity. So you're looking at GoFundMe, crowdfunding, anything like that, and generation of any advertising revenue. Okay. Must not be publicly distributed except for no charge digital distribution. Okay? Make it clear that they are unofficial without using any Games Workshop logos, and include the word unofficial prominently on the front cover. Not to be prejudicial to the goodwill, reputation, or integrity of Games Workshop or its intellectual property. So, very, very, very clever stuff here. Very clever stuff. So, what they're doing here is ensuring that you can write your own codexes. That's great. Number one, that's great. You can write your own codexes, you can write your own stories. Bloody beautiful stuff. Has to be labelled as unofficial, but the last one, the nebulous one, is the last one there. Must not be prejudicial to the goodwill, reputation, or integrity of Games Workshop or its intellectual property. Who decides that? Who decides that? Well, Games Workshop will decide that. Alright? But if one person at Games Workshop has views about the law and how things work differently to you and they're offended by what you write, that's it. You're no longer allowed to print your short stories or your codex or whatever it is, even if it's free. Because they'll say, no, you've gone against the prejudicial, you've been hammering away our goodwill, our reputation, and the integrity of Games Workshop. You know? Every company will put in these nebulous terms, these things in there that they want you to, it's a get out of jail free card. If you bypass the top four here by being clever, they can always get you on the last one. It's almost impossible to adhere to, because they can change the goalpost anytime. But apart from that, I really respect those top four fan fiction, hobby books and magazines guidelines. I follow those. Everyone should follow those. There's no problem with following any of those guidelines. There shouldn't be anyway. If you're making money from distributing Games Workshop stuff, I mean, I fully get that it's an expensive hobby. But in terms of books, if you know how to write, you can make a killing selling these books. I'm telling you now. So, please don't. Please don't, because then you ruin the fun for everyone else. But anyway, fan artwork. Individuals may create their own artwork, drawings, and designs based on our characters and settings, but these must not include artwork or imagery copied from any Games Workshop material, official Games Workshop material. They must be non-commercial, just as above. Must not be publicly distributed, except for no charge, as above. Make it clear that they're unofficial, just as above. And again, just as above. Not prejudicial to the goodwill reputation. That means no more hentai, please. So if they find you distributing Sisters of Battle porn or hentai or whatever, they can take that down at any point. That's the one thing that really gets me for Emperor's got a text-to-speech device and things like that, is that they could go after sites like that now. And look at fan sites below this. All the same, prejudicial to goodwill and things like that. They can look at anything at any time and take it down. That's why that last point rankles me a little bit. It's just a get-out-of-jail-free card for Games Workshop to say, we don't like this. Or one person at the company doesn't like this, so we're taking it down. Because we feel it's prejudicial to the goodwill of Games Workshop. Is it? Is it not? No one knows, but they say it is. So, Alright. Alright, so you can't monetize or sell any of the things. Okay, fine. Now, this last part is something that is incredibly important to us, from what I've seen online. Again, I've not read through this fully, so this is why I wanted to read it with you, so you can get my ground zero response to it. So, let's have a little look here. We have a zero tolerance policy in respect of infringement of our intellectual property rights. Serious stuff. This includes counterfeit models. Our models must not be reproduced and sold. Fine. Not a problem. Not a problem with that. If you do that, you're a bit of a dick. You reproduce the models. They're not even saying you can't reproduce the models. They're just saying you can't sell them. If you're reproducing models that are clearly Games Workshop molds and selling them, that's theft. You're stealing. Stop it. Imitation models. Our products must not be imitated. Imitators produce models which copy heavily from Games Workshop artwork, books, or products. I'll throw these in to the same thing because they are. Recasting and 3D printing. Our products must not be illegally recast or scanned, nor should digital designs of our products be illegally produced and distributed. Now, I have a serious bee in my bonnet about imitation. Games Workshop, I'm going to tell you this in black and white, have no right to talk about imitation. Okay? Games Workshop have imitated Tolkien. They've imitated Dune, as in hand-ripped stuff from Dune and put it in Warhammer 40,000, the Emperor of Mankind, the Imperium of Man, all that other stuff, right? They've imitated countless historical cultures and appropriated them for their own use, right? And they had the temerity to try and sue people for using the word Space Marine. I don't know if how many of you are aware of the history of sci-fi, but Space Marine has been around for a long time before Games Workshop ever was a stirring in anyone's loins down there in Nottingham. Okay? That's what I have a serious problem with them using, with them having the cheek to use the words imitation. They've imitated everybody else for decades now. Decades. Imitation. If you've read Berserk by Kentaro Miura, and then you've looked at Fulgrim wearing his armor, pre-heresy Fulgrim wearing his armor, you know what I'm getting at here. Fulgrim is essentially Griffith. He's even wearing the same armor, he has the same attitude, he has the same flaws. He looks exactly the same. Even to the point where the winged part of his armor is on the left pauldron and is pointing upwards. He is ripped directly from Berserk. They have imitated and stolen a character from another intellectual property. That's the point I'm making here. I have a serious problem with the hypocrisy that goes on at Games Workshop on a daily basis. I'll leave that there. But I don't like that. That's ridiculous. Okay? Alright. Illegal downloads. Are publications, audiobooks, and other material protected by copyright must not be illegally uploaded, shared, or that's fine. Yeah, that's theft. That's fine. Completely fine. Unauthorized use of our trademarks. Unauthorized use or registration of our trademarks in respect to similar products or services is not permitted. Fine. Yeah, technically stealing. That's fine. But Space Marine is not one of them. And this is the thing that I really resent the company for, is they have these rules that seem very reasonable until they start to enforce them. It's the enforcement of these rules that I have a problem with. Going after people for using the word Space Marine is not a responsible use of your copyright rights. It's not. Okay? Moving on. Fan films and animations. Here is the big one. A lot of you have seen Astartes. I have too. Loved it. Alright? Individuals must not create fan films or animations based on our settings and characters. Full stop. These are only to be created under license from Games Workshop. Full stop. That's it. So if you've ever wanted to create one of those movies like Astartes or anything like that, you're shit out of luck, my friend. They'll sue the arse off you. That's it. The fun is over, guys. You are no longer allowed to make things like Astartes. You are no longer allowed to make things like the Emperor has a text-to-speech device. You're no longer able to make things like that. By the way, these things that Warhammer Plus, their channel, most of their content is built off of the content of other people like Astartes, like Emperor has a text-to-speech device, right? They allowed people to build their fan base, and then they've cut them off at the knees. Serious issues there. That is a guideline written by a corporate suit or a middle management a-hole who has absolutely no finger on the pulse of what fans actually like and what they want to do. Right? The amount of effort and work that goes into something like Astartes, that goes into something like Emperor's text-to-speech device, that goes into anything like that, is obscene. And somebody showing passion like that for your IP is a mark of respect. As long as they're not making any money from it, that's a mark of respect. And all the things that Games Workshop say here when they say, listen, do what you want. All this stuff above when they say, do what you want, but don't make any money from it, that's fine. Absolutely fine. Have unofficial on the front of it. Fine. Games Workshop, that's fine, man. That's really... in fact, that's a good practice. Yeah, good. Yeah, exactly. It's unofficial. Brilliant. Got no problem with that whatsoever. It's this last nebulous line here, not to be prejudiced to the goodwill, blah, 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 blah. We could go into SJW politics, but I don't want to go into that in this video, but that's obviously what that's leaning towards, okay? I don't like that, and I just don't understand how you can have people making movies like Astartes, going out of their way to put Warhammer and your hobby in front of people. They've taken it and they put it in front of people. We are in the YouTube generation now. We are in the social media generation. And Games Workshop has historically been very bad at YouTube. Very bad. Not good at all. Okay? Just not great. And then on the flip side of that, you have people who are going out of their way to put your product in front of people and say, look how fucking cool this Space Marine looks. Look how fucking cool this Astartes looks, this Space Marine. Look at him. And look at him killing heretics. How fucking cool is this? Go to that Games Workshop and buy yourself a Star Collecting box. That's what that film is saying. But we're not going to get any of them anymore. Because apparently the only ones that can be made are by Games Workshop and under license from Games Workshop. So go fuck yourself. Disgraceful. Disgusting. Right. Games and apps. Individuals will not create computer games or apps based on our characters and settings. Fine. Yeah. Okay. Normal. The only notification under license from Games Workshop. That's fine. Not a problem with that. So, reporting your concerns, and that's if you're going to be a bloody grass and go and grass people up. So you can email that email there. So those are my concerns with this. Okay, I have serious reservations about that. That's literally this word here, this sentence here on each of these above, this word here, yeah, and this. They're the only problems I have with this, but they are huge problems because the rest of it is normal corporate bigwig speak for please don't sell our products that aren't licensed, right? That's fine. That's theft. But everything else, go fuck yourself. Go fuck yourself. Right? You put your IP out there, people are going to make fan fiction, whether you like it or not. Okay? Right? Putting effort into chasing these people down is wasted energy. What you should be doing, all of the effort that goes into, look, report your concerns. You know there's a department at Games Workshop in Nottingham just for going through this email address and finding things out and shutting people down. If Games Workshop, I'll tell you now, if you put as much effort into catching infringements as you did into looking at those that content out there, the unofficial content, and cherry picking the cream of the fucking crop creatively, you would have a much better studio on your hands. That's all I've got to say about that. Alright. Finally, leaving it off with this. Feel free to email the company. Feel free to do whatever you... to go and speak to them. And speak to employees. And whatever. Right? But do not abuse people. I got this when I was working Games Workshop, and I fucking hated it. It's not my fault that the products are priced as they are. It's not my fault, right, that you've had a bad experience with Games Workshop in the past. So don't call my store and shout at me. Just like you shouldn't call Games Workshop and shout at the people on the end of the phone because they didn't make these rules. All right? Be polite. Send letters. Send emails. Do whatever you want to do. But make sure it's respectful, make sure it's above the belt, and make sure it's polite and you get your point across. Those emails will be read. Right? Any abuse will be closed and deleted straight away. Alright? Don't be fools to yourselves. Be good. Okay? But those are my opinions on the copyright infringements that have been... guidelines that have been released. What do you guys think? Hit me in the description, in the comments below. I'm back for the summer. We'll see after that. Well, I probably will be back after that, to be honest with you, if I get addicted to it, let's be honest. Anyway, see you guys around. Have a good one.